in at number 10, we have the Virgin Mary lip syncing. This is absolutely insane. In 2015, parishioners at the St. Charles Church in Sydney, Australia, got a shock when they reported seeing the lips of Virgin Mary move in sync with the Lord's Prayer. For those skeptical, 2 churchgoers actually filmed the incident. The painting hangs above the church altar and is thought to have come from the Middle East. Footage filmed by young Catholic Christian Curas was uploaded to YouTube, and I have to say, it really does look like the Virgin Mary's mouth is moving. It also looks like Christ's hand moves at one point too. Kristen spoke to the press and said, "I believe it was a miracle and not just lighting, because we all saw it at the same time, and because her lips would start moving and then stop and then start again." Coming in at number 9, we have the Anguished Man. I absolutely cannot stand looking at this picture. I know that art is subjective, but I can't imagine having to look at this painting ever, let alone having it as a focal spot in my home. This painting is called The Anguished Man, and the urban legend goes that it was painted with the artist's own blood mixed with oil shortly before they killed themselves. That's right, painted in blood, then they committed suicide. Great! Once again, why would you ever hang this? The owner, Sean Robinson, was handed down the painting by his grandmother, but claims he doesn't display it because nobody likes it, and I wonder why. On the few times that he has displayed the picture, he and his family have reported strange goings-on such as bangs and voices and strange smells. They even reported that the painting moves of its own accord. Trying to find proof, Sean set up a camera in his spare room and recorded the activity over the evening. This is a piece of the footage that was recorded in June 2011. That's right, there it is. Now, according to Sean, the painting was at an angle and against the wall, and there was no drafts present, so it should not have been able to fall like that. This next one is a little bit of an urban legend, but stories are all over the internet. Coming in at number 8, we have Sonny's suicide painting. So according to urban legend, a teenage Japanese girl called Sonny drew this picture and then scanned it into her computer and uploaded it to the internet. The image reportedly had quite the effect on viewers, who said that they saw sadness in her eyes. They also saw her face change expressions after staring at her. In South Korea, the story garnered a lot of momentum, and people would claim that they stared at her for longer than 5 minutes, her face would twist into a taunting smirk. According to the legend, some people who stared at the picture for longer than those 5 minutes were compelled to commit suicide. Now, it turns out it is all just an urban legend though, and the picture is by an artist called Robert Klang. The girl in the image is a fictional character called Princess Rue. Coming in at number 7, we have the misty painting of Bernardo de Galvez. Look at this majestic fellow. This is powerful historical Spaniard Bernardo de Galvez, who was instrumental in the Spanish military in the late 1700s. The city of Galveston in Texas is named after him, as is the city hotel, Hotel Galvez. In the hotel, there is an oil painting of Bernardo that is reportedly haunted by none other than the chap himself. The painting sits at the end of the downstairs hallway and is quite the feature. Despite being a beautiful old painting, a lot of the guests at the hotel simply don't like it one bit. A lot of people have complained that they feel cold when they're near the painting, and almost all guests of the hotel will tell you that they feel Bernardo's eyes moving to watch you. It seems if you try and take a picture of the painting without asking permission of the late great Bernardo de Galvez, it will come out blurry. However, if you ask nicely, the picture will be clear. Those eyes though, I mean, they're clearly seeing you. Coming in at number 6, we have the painting of Ivan the Terrible and his son Ivan. This 1885 painting by Russian realist artist Ilya Repin has been causing a stir since it was created. The painting shows a mortally wounded Ivan being cradled by his Tsar father, who has wounded him. It is reported in history that he murdered him, although a lot of critics challenge the historical accuracy of that statement and this painting. Nonetheless, it is one of the most famous Russian classics, and it is currently in the Moscow State Technikov Gallery. When the painting was first unveiled, a lot of people claimed to be deeply unsettled by it. Some say they saw something terrible within the picture, other than the already terrible subject matter. In 1913, a mentally ill man slashed the painting with a knife, and it was restored by Repin himself. Once again, the painting was slashed in 2018 by a visitor to the Moscow Museum. Now, he reported to be shouting that he saw terrible images moving within the picture. The man was identified as Igor Podporin, who claimed that he was overwhelmed by something. He later blamed vodka for his outburst. Coming in at number 5, we have Love Letters. Love Letters is a painting of a 4-year-old girl, Samantha Houston, who was painted by Richard King in the style of a pre-existing work by Charles Trevor Garland. Samantha was the daughter of a Texan U.S. senator senator who died in 1887, aged 4, when she tripped and fell down a staircase as she sadly chased a ball. It seems, as a tribute, the Driscoll Hotel in Texas had a painting of her commissioned. Now this still stands there today on the 5th floor. It seems that Samantha's spirit may have imprinted on the picture, as guests say that they've heard her giggling when they're nearby. Many guests report feeling like she's trying to tell them something, saying that they've seen her expression change when they look at the picture. Coming into number 4, we have a moving mourning portrait. Now this is a really scary video uploaded to YouTube in August 2008. Uploaded by Haunting Painting, it is called Scary Ghost Girl Painting Movements Captured, and it's pretty accurate. The painting is of an unknown child in the 18th century and is reportedly a mourning painting, a memento mori. This basically means a painting of a person that's died and it's been commissioned in order to remember them. Now it seems that this mystery girl is haunting her own painting. The narrator of the video says that she sometimes weeps and that occasionally her mouth opens. Now, this moment was captured on camera, right? Terrifying. Now, a lot of people in the comment section are calling this fake, but honestly, I really didn't like looking at this picture while I was scripting this video. Coming into number 3, we have a painting of a headless man. I am not okay with this painting. Why? Well, because at first it looks like a nice little depiction of an old station wagon. That is until you realize there's a freaking headless man hovering around in it like a decapitated creep. The artist Laura P. painted this image in response to a photograph James Kidd had taken of a stagecoach stop in Tombstone, Arizona. Her finished painting was hung at an office in Arizona, but after 3 days, staff demanded it be returned to her. Workers said that their papers would go missing and that the painting seemed to always move. They reported that despite being constantly straightened, the painting would always become crooked on the wall. Laura then took the painting back and hung it at her home. Unfortunately for her, the weird occurrences surrounding the picture followed her. She said that doors would start opening and closing on their own in the room that the painting was in, and a glass even smashed in her hand right in front of the picture. Laura has expressed a desire to have the image destroyed, regretting ever creating the painting. She is worried what will happen if she does have it destroyed though. She doesn't want to anger the spirit. Coming into number 2, we have The Dead Mother by Edvard Munch. Like, Edvard basically just needed a hug. If you recognize his name, that's because he is the artist that was famously behind The Scream. I don't like The Scream either. I mean, it's a very, very good painting and very expressionist, but it freaks me out. However, I have to say this painting freaks me out harder. Munch's work is notoriously filled with pain and anguish, which is more likely than not down to his poor health and his difficult upbringing. His mother died when he was 5, which probably explains this unsettling painting. Now, the painting is called The Dead Mother and was completed in 1900. The picture is already scary to look at, but it gets even creepier when you hear what those who have owned it or worked with it have to say. Firstly, the little girl's eyes are said to incessantly follow people wherever they go, but worse still, it is said that the sheets on the dead mother's bed rustle or move. Some have even sworn that the little girl leaves the painting altogether. Coming into number 1, we have the Hans Resistim painting. Ugh, this again. I feel like this has come up on a few top 10s before and I do not like it. The Hans Resistim painting gained notoriety in 2000 when it sold on eBay for just over $1,000. The seller claimed it was haunted, and actually, it probably is. Reportedly, 3 people involved with displaying the painting died, including the art dealer and the art critic who first reviewed the piece. Hans Resistim is a painting by Bill Stoneman. Now, the name is said to have come from a poem written by his wife about her husband's adoption. In the painting, a boy is seen standing next to a creepy-looking doll whilst disembodied hands pour a glass-paneled door behind him. The painting was found abandoned in a Californian brewery, which is where it seems the couple who listed it on eBay found it. The wife wrote, "One morning our 4.5-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night. Now, I don't believe in UFOs or Elvis being alive, but my husband was alarmed. To my amusement, he set up a motion-triggered camera for the night." Now, the couple claimed that the motion camera even captured the boy exiting the frame under duress from the doll. It was also thought that the hands in the background move. I don't like this. Now, the painting was bought by gallery owner Kim Smith, who shows it on request. She does so less and less these days because people keep on complaining of falling ill after viewing the picture. Since gaining notoriety for Hans Resistim, Bill Stoneman has created a prequel and a sequel image, both of which are horrifying.
Alright, start starting off this countdown, we have the painting of Samantha Houston by Richard King. So this painting doesn't look all that scary. It shows a cute little girl in a pink dress smiling while holding a bunch of pink roses. Honestly, if I didn't know the backstory, I wouldn't regard this as a scary painting. So apparently, this is a painting of a girl who fell to her death after chasing her ball down the stairs. This painting was made in her honor and hung up in the Drizkill Hotel, which is the place that she passed away. Excuse me? The hotel is called Drizkill? Coincidence? I think not. Well, anyways, guests of the hotel have claimed that they feel dizzy and nauseous while around the painting. Others have claimed that they have felt as if they were being lifted off the ground, or have even seen the girl change expressions. Now, some people own replicas of this piece of art, and they too have felt dizzy and nauseous around it. As a result, those people have had to remove those paintings from their home. Although some people have this painting locked away, unfortunately I believe that the original painting still remains on the 5th floor of this hotel. Moving on to number 9, we have the painting called The Left Hand by Theodore Géricault. Now, this painting comes with a dark backstory. Apparently the artist Jean-Louis André Theodore would buy amputated limbs from the morgue as models for his paintings. He would keep these limbs in his house for weeks while he painted them. I mean, of course he couldn't have used his own hand or his friend's hand as a reference. No, he literally gave a new meaning to need a hand? Well, anyway, some people believe that his paintings are cursed by the people whose body parts he used as a reference. Some people have claimed that they have felt a cold hand on the back of their neck, or even felt a slight push while looking at this painting. The scariest fact about this is that Theodore died 8 hours after finishing this piece of work. Thankfully, this particular piece of art is no longer on display. At number 8, we have the painting of Marie Laveau. Now, this image is carefully on display at the New Orleans Historic Voodoo Museum. Some people say that they can feel Marie's cold eyes watching them. Others say that once you see this image, then Marie will haunt you and even will show up in your nightmares. Oh, dang. I guess I won't be sleeping tonight. In fact, tour guides say that whoever wishes to see the painting must go alone. They refuse to go see it themselves. Others also claim that when they take a picture of the painting, their photos won't develop. So go to that museum and check out that painting if you're brave enough. Next up at number 7, we have the painting called Soul Bowl. Now, with a name like that, what do you expect? So this piece of artwork was listed on a website called Trade Me, and the user wanted it out of her life, claiming that it was haunted. So this painting is of a bowl, with the background almost looking like it could resemble the flames of hell. Now, along the sides of the painting it reads, "The shape of my soul is a bowl." Creepy. Now, this painting was bought at an antique shop in New Zealand. However, after they brought this painting home, scary things started happening. She claims that some nights the painting would fall off the wall. She also claims that another night she saw a dark silhouette go from her bedroom to the painting. After numerous other paranormal encounters, she decided to sell it. I wouldn't think anyone would want a painting marketed as haunted, but apparently people like to collect spooky things. The painting ended up being sold for $123 to an anonymous buyer. She believes that this buyer took it off of her hands out of good nature and either burned it, locked it away, or tried to get in contact with the spirit. Next up at number 6, we have The Spirit of the Bartender by Will Refuse. Now, I personally love thrift shopping. I love the sustainability aspect of it and how it's better for the environment. Now, I only buy clothes, and I think I'm just gonna stick to doing that because this next individual claims that they bought a haunted painting from the thrift store. Now, in this story, a group of buds moved in together. One roommate bought some furniture and a painting from the thrift store. So this painting was of a ventriloquist dummy-looking bartender. He is seen with big eyes and a creepy smile. They claimed that the bartender's eyes would follow you around the room and they felt uneasy about it. One of the guys even claimed that when you are alone with it, you feel like there's another presence with you. 2 months later, things started happening around their house. One day, one of the roommates heard a loud bang at the door, but no one was there. The banging continued, and every time he checked, no one was there. Then he would hear loud footsteps running up and down the stairs. Eventually, one of the roommates moved out and took the painting with him and donated it to the bar that he worked at. But apparently they also experienced paranormal activity and ended up throwing it out. Now, if you research this artist, it shows that he paints a lot of the same things over and over again. It always involves some ventriloquist looking person, and there are different variations of this bartender photo. It's quite creepy. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the painting of Maria Ivanova. Now, this piece of art was painted by a Russian artist by the name of Vladimir Borovikovsky. It was painted in 1797 of a young woman named Maria before she passed away from tuberculosis. Now, people believe that this painting causes bad luck to whoever looks at it. Well, that's great. Looks like I'm getting bad luck and so are all of you, so They believe that this painting had some sort of power that could cause death to any unmarried girl. Dang it, that's me again. Also, it doesn't help that the girl's last name has Ivan in it. People also blame the painting for a bunch of tragic deaths of young girls that happened around the same time. They believe that their souls are now trapped inside the painting by an evil spirit. Moving on, at number 4, we have the haunted thrifted painting. Again, don't buy your paintings from the thrift stores. So this was posted on Reddit 1 year ago by the user Young Balsamic. He claims that one day he was thrift shopping when he came across this painting. Now, he did claim that he does like creepy dark things, so it wasn't too weird for him to buy this scary painting. Now, although this looks badly hand painted, he claimed that the painting spoke to him and he felt overwhelmed, like he just had to have it. After a few days, he noticed that his cupboards would open and close, lights would flicker, and things would fall down. He would even hear scratching coming from the wall that the painting was on. Then he started to see a dark figure in his dreams. He said that he would get stuck in some sort of sleep paralysis and he would be visited by a figure with no eyes. He then would start to have the same reoccurring dream every night. He even said he was visited by the faceless people in this painting. That's when he decided to take apart the painting. When he removed the frame, he said that his whole house started to smell like sulfur. He also realized a dark cross was painted on the back of this image. He then put this painting in his basement storage locker where it still remains. He doesn't know what to do with it and is scared to burn it with the fear that he will annoy the demons. I mean, I would just donate it back to the thrift stores, let them deal with it. In our 3rd spot, we have the portrait of the doll. Now, unfortunately, this piece does not have any pictures associated with it, and I will explain why. So, this is a story of another girl who bought a painting from a thrift store. Don't buy paintings from thrift stores. So, similar to the guy I mentioned before, this girl felt drawn to this particular photo. She felt like she was lured into buying it. This picture was of an old doll. She claims that when she hung it up in her room, she immediately felt like she was being watched. Even her friends that slept over would say the same thing. Now, she doesn't know who the artist is and can't find a picture of the painting online. She thinks that it's an original piece of art. Now, she was getting really scared from this painting that she too hid it in a storage room. Immediately, the uneasy feeling she felt before just stopped. But she claims that whenever she goes down to the storage room, the same feeling overwhelms her. Coming in at number 2, we have the painting of the Weeping Children. Now, this is a collection of paintings created by Giovanni Bragolin. All of his paintings in the series depict little girls and boys all crying. It is said that whoever owns these paintings will face tragedy. In fact, a string of house fires were all thought to have been caused by these paintings. All of the houses that caught on fire were completely destroyed except for their paintings that remained perfectly undamaged. One of this case is of the family Ron and May Hall. Their house unexpectedly caught on fire and they lost almost everything, except for the painting of a crying boy. The painting wasn't even blackened by the smoke. Now, these images were mass printed in the 1950s to the 1970s, so a lot of people own different pictures from this collection. Some people have locked their art away so that no one else buys it or so that their own house doesn't get burnt down. However, there are still some in circulation, so be careful. And in our number 1 spot, we have the auctioned painting. Again, unfortunately, I don't have an image of this painting as it was an original and the artist remains unknown. So this person claims that when he was 8 years old, his mother bought a haunted painting from an auction. Now, this painting is of a woman around the age of 30 who is wearing a long bluish gray gown. She is seen standing in front of a veranda with a tea set, kettle, and a plate of cake and sandwiches next to her. They believe that the painting was from around 1900 to 1910. They hung this painting in the hallway, and when they did so, strange activities started happening immediately. Now, they claimed that the hallway was always warm since it was summer, but when the painting was hung up, the hallway was always ice cold. All the kids in the family were also scared of this painting. In fact, his little 6-year-old brother would walk on the other side of the hallway. Now, at night, they would often hear whispering coming from the hallway. And one time, they reported seeing a flash of blue in the corner of their eye, like the dress was coming out of the painting. Now, one day the little brother even tripped down the stairs and said he felt a cold hand push him. And even their pets would growl at the painting. Eventually, they decided to sell the painting to an arts collector. He currently keeps this painting locked up in his basement. Starting off this countdown, we have Miss Bell. For weeks, a man named Alan Smith was haunted by a pale figure of a woman in his mansion. Apparently, this woman would lurk around the hallways and in the bedrooms around 1 o'clock in the morning. She could be seen surrounded by a blue haze and just drifted around the house. Then one day, he found a painting in his house and realized that the woman in the painting was the woman who was haunting him. After doing research, he discovered that the ghost was of a woman named Miss Bell. She used to live in the mansion, but apparently she went bankrupt and lost all of her possessions. Well, Alan ended up hanging the painting in his home, and ever since then, the haunting stopped. Miss Bell seemed to be at peace. But it's said that no one else can own the painting except the mansion's owner. If the painting ever leaves the premise, Miss Bell will arise again and haunt those until her painting is returned to its proper location. Moving on to number 9, we have The Dead Mother. You may not have heard of this painting by Edvard Munch, but chances are you have seen his famous piece of artwork. Now, this painting is quite dark. It depicts a dead mother laying on her bed while her child stands there covering her ears. This painting is said to represent the devastation that Scandinavia faced due to tuberculosis. Just when you thought the painting couldn't get any worse, it's said that the eyes of the child in the painting will follow you. Others say that they have heard the rustle of the bed sheets from the photo and have heard the mother cough. Others claim that they have seen the mother change positions, or that they've seen the child move, blink, or even disappear from the painting entirely. The painting is for sure cursed. What else can explain this? Coming in at number 8, we have the Rokeby Venus. The Rokeby Venus, otherwise known as Venus at her mirror or the Toilet of Venus, is a beautiful painting created in 1658. The painting features a half-naked woman, Venus, staring at herself in a mirror that Cupid is holding. This is actually a lovely painting, but it's said to bring sickness and death to whoever owns it. One woman died mysteriously while the painting was in her family's possession. Other owners were murdered. As a result, no museum or hotel or other place ever wants to own it. Then in 1914, a British female rights activist sliced the painting with a butcher's knife. She did this because she was disgusted by how men were staring at her body all day long. So she took a meat cleaver and sliced it. But rumor has it that the canvas barely got a scratch. Only if you look very close at the painting can you see the slash marks. It's thought that the painting is so strong that not even a physical object can stop it. Moving on to number 7, we have the Witch Girl. Now, I couldn't find much information on this painting. It features a picture of a girl crying, but I don't know who painted it or even the year it was created. All that's said about it is that it's a painting of a witch child and apparently it's very haunted. So it said that the painting once belonged to a Spanish man who felt like the girl's eyes in the painting would follow him. He also said that at night a gray silhouette would appear right by the canvas. In fact, many people are convinced that the spectre is Madame Delphine Lalaurie herself. Lalaurie was known for torturing her slaves in very, very gruesome ways. But now my question is, why is she haunting this painting? And is it really her? In our 6th spot, we have the Stagecoach painting. So this painting has a very dark and twisted backstory, so no wonder it's cursed. So in 1994, a photographer named James Kidd took a bunch of photos of stagecoaches in Tombstone, Arizona. However, upon developing the photos, he realized that there was a ghost of a headless man standing on a log beside the stagecoach. And then a painter thought it would be a good idea to recreate this photo as an oil painting. And as a result, that ghost attached itself to the painting. Seriously, what did she expect? So when the painting was complete, it was hung at a business. But a couple of days later, the business demanded that she take it back. Apparently, the painting was found crooked every morning, despite them constantly correcting it. They also blamed the painting for paperwork going missing and appointments getting messed up. The painting was just bringing them immense bad luck. Then when she brought it back home, she started experiencing bad luck herself. Her garage roof started leaking. but roofers couldn't find the source of the leak, and when the painting was moved, the leak stopped. On top of that, things would break on their own and she would hear weird ghostly noises. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Bernardo de Galvez. This painting is said to be one of the most haunted paintings in the world. So the painting is a portrait of Bernardo de Galvez, a very powerful Spanish military leader. In the early 1900s, the city of Galveston opened a hotel named after him, and in the hotel they hung this massive portrait of him. But it seems as if Bernardo has attached himself to his portrait. A lot of guests have seen his ghost wandering the halls by his portrait. Others complained about feeling very unsettled while passing by the painting. In fact, a lot of people have reported feeling cold and uneasy when standing close to the portrait. Also, on a number of occasions, if you try to take a photo of the portrait, it will end up coming out blurry or completely dark. So the hotel truly believes that the painting is cursed by Bernardo himself. In our 4th spot, we have Maria Lopukina. This is a portrait of Maria Lopukina, a young Russian woman who sadly died of tuberculosis. The painting was made in 1797, a few years before her passing, and now it's said that her restless soul haunts the painting. In fact, it's so cursed that bad luck will fall on whoever looks directly at the painting. It was said that the painting contains some kind of power that can cause healthy young girls to die randomly. In fact, this has happened so often that people are convinced that the portrait actually steals the souls of the girls and traps them inside the painting. In our 3rd spot, we have the Suicide Girl. Looking at this painting, you wouldn't think there'd be anything to be afraid of. Just wait. So story goes that a girl committed suicide shortly after creating this image. She drew the picture, scanned it, posted it online, and then she took her own life. Now, legend goes that if you stare into the girl's eyes for too long, then she will get you to take your own life as well. Some that have stared at it for a while have claimed that the portrait turns evil. The girl gets an evil smirk on her face and dark circles appear under her eyes. In our 2nd spot, we have Man Proposes, God Disposes. Painted in 1864 by Edwin Henry Landseer, this painting was inspired by Sir John Franklin's expedition in 1845, when they disappeared without a trace. This painting is how Edwin imagined their fate would be, but little did he know that he created an extremely cursed painting. So this painting is hung up in the exam hall at Royal Holloway University of London. Rumor has it that in the 1970s, a student committed suicide after staring at the painting. All he left behind was a note that read, "The polar bears made me do it." Other students have said that they felt uneasy while sitting next to it. As a result, students purposely go out of their way to avoid this painting, and the university has to cover it up while students are taking tests. And in our number 1 spot, we have The Anguished Man. This has to be by far the most haunted painting in the world. So story goes that a man named Sean Robinson inherited the painting from his grandmother. The artist of the painting still remains unknown, but it's said that he mixed his own blood with the paint. They ended up killing themselves shortly after finishing the painting. Sean's grandmother was convinced that this painting was haunted. She would hear screaming or crying coming from the painting, and she would often see a shadowy figure by it. As a result, she kept it locked away in her attic. They believed that it was haunted by the ghost of the artist. When Sean inherited the painting, bad things started to happen to him and his family. His son was pushed down the stairs by the ghost, his wife felt someone stroking her hair, and a shadow would lurk through the halls. To this day, Sean keeps the painting locked up in a secure location. It said, "It's far too dangerous for anyone to own."